Hello everyone, my name is Kayla Butler and I'm a BSN to DNP student in the Psychiatric Mental Health NP track. I am here today to present to you my idea for a new technology intervention in my clinical setting. This semester, I have been working at a nurse-run ketamine infusion clinic which is part of an outpatient mental health practice. The practice as a whole includes a psychiatrist, a nurse practitioner, several therapists, and a social worker, plus the 2 medical assistants and secretary who do a fabulous job of keeping the flow going. The ketamine clinic itself is managed by the psychiatrist and run by 1 registered nurse. So here's how it goes. A patient comes in for a mental health consult and is diagnosed with treatment-resistant depression. If appropriate, the psychiatrist will recommend a course of ketamine therapy. The patient will then be educated on the use of ketamine for depression, then return to the clinic later that week or the following week for her first infusion. The education that the patient receives is a verbal explanation from the doctor, and we all know how easy it is to forget what the doctor said as soon as we leave his office. Because ketamine was not originally intended for use as an antidepressive agent, and we are using it off-label, the drug manufacturer has not produced any patient education materials that we can use. So this is my task. Come up with a way to educate severely depressed patients about ketamine therapy. Sounds simple enough? Produce some informational handouts and bang, I'm done. Well, this task may not be as simple as you might think. People with severe recurrent depression have difficulty learning new ideas due to slowed cognitive processing, difficulty concentrating, and memory impairment. This means that these patients may only process a small amount of the doctor's verbal explanation, and they are likely to take one look at a handout and set it down in the lobby. So to effectively educate these patients, we need to try something different, something that will capture their interest and keep it for 5 minutes. What I'm recommending is that we develop an animated video explaining what to expect from ketamine therapy, potential side effects, and ways to augment the effects of the medication. The video would be played for patients prior to consenting for treatment via the office computer and can be replayed on the patient's personal device or computer as they wish. Users of this new technology will likely range in age from 15 to 75 and come from a variety of educational, ethnic, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Currently, all patients receiving ketamine are white, roughly middle class, and are educated at the high school level or above. Limitations for the use of this technology would arise in the event that we were presented with a patient who is hearing or visually impaired. In this situation, a learning method could be left up to patient preference. The video could easily be translated into other languages, so educating non-English speaking patients should not be considered a limitation. In order to plan and implement this project, we will need input from the prescribing physician and the nurse who manages all of the treatments. The graduate student who will be researching learning abilities and limitations of depressed patients will also be responsible for producing the video and publishing it online. The project will only require the use of a computer with internet access and won't cost the practice any money. Alternative solutions to this technology include developing an educational handout and verbal instruction. I've already explained why these methods may not be adequate. The narrated video animation technique was chosen because it provides a complete and organized verbal presentation of the information with visual cues to enhance comprehension. And the video may be viewed from the patient's home or another location where the patient is more receptive to teaching. Specific outcome objectives for this project are that patients will be able to recall key points from the video at the time of their next visit. Patients will report learning new and useful information on ketamine therapy after watching the video, and patients will report that the video captured and retained their attention most of the time. Also, it is our goal that the published ketamine video will meet the requirements of meaningful use by improving the quality and effectiveness of patient education, improving patient safety through teaching on how to prepare for infusion sessions and what to expect during the treatment, as well as improving care quality by suggesting the simultaneous participation in cognitive behavioral therapy and lifestyle changes as appropriate. Our process objectives for this project are to complete research on ketamine and neurobiology of learning in the depressed brain and write video content by May 25, 2015. Also to obtain final approval from key stakeholders on video content by June 1, 2015. To complete video and post to YouTube by June 15th. To show the video to all new ketamine therapy patients beginning June 15th. To create and implement the teaching effectiveness strategy to be completed by patients upon check-in for first infusion session, and finally to evaluate survey results and revise the video as needed to meet preferences and update content when new research becomes available. Stakeholders in this project include the psychiatrist who oversees the practice and prescribes ketamine therapy, the nurse who manages the treatment course and administers the medication, the medical assistants who will ensure that teaching surveys are collected, and the patients who will be receiving ketamine therapy. The final decision whether to implement the video teaching strategy versus an alternate solution lies with the psychiatrist, but ultimately the success of the trial will depend on the patient's responses to the teaching. The effectiveness of the newly implemented technology would be evaluated by two means. First, after having the patient watch the video, the clinician will ask a series of 3 questions to complete a survey on patients' perception of the video and their learning. Then, when patients return for their first infusion, they will be given a short questionnaire to test their recall of key teaching points. Survey data, in combination with feedback from other stakeholders, should provide adequate information on the overall effectiveness of the intervention and would demonstrate that objectives for meaningful use were met. So, in summary, strengths of this technology intervention are that it is easily repeatable, it allows for the same education to be provided to all patients, and no additional costs will be associated with its use once the video is created. The only downside foreseeable for the proposed intervention is the upfront labor required to produce the video. Based on this analysis, and considering that this technology intervention does not present any new risks and will require no monetary investment, it is evident that the ketamine educational video would in fact meet the requirements of meaningful use and may lead to a change in the way we go about educating this subset of patients in the future.